the first cut is the deepest. Welcome to MsMojo, and today, we're counting down our picks for the top 20 movies about young love. For this list, we'll be looking at films that capture the messiness of experiencing first love, or at least love at a young age. The movies picked all have that universal quality of nostalgia anyone who has experienced their first love would understand. Number 20, The Half of It. Netflix has clearly found that their audience has an interest in movies about young love, because lately they've been producing tons of great original films on the topic. One of the most recent is The Half of It, which employs a unique concept with a fresh and modern feeling twist. High school jock Paul has a crush on a girl named Aster, but isn't exactly a wordsmith.
I'm not good with words.
But you know you love her.
I know. I think about her when I wake up, and when I'm doing my sprints, and when I'm eating my mom's bratwurst, and when I'm saying my prayers.
That just means that you're stubborn, not that you're in love.
No, it's love.
So he hires smart girl Ellie to pen a love letter to her. There's an added level of complication though, because it turns out that Ellie is in love with Aster too. The movie explores the meanings of true love, which are relevant no matter how old you are. Number 19, Brooklyn. Brooklyn, released in 2015, stars Saoirse Ronan as Ailish, a young Irish girl who moves to New York in order to carve out a better life for herself. She secretly gets married there to an Italian-American man named Tony, but then life unexpectedly brings her back to her home country. She has to make the difficult decision between staying in the small town where she grew up with an Irishman she meets, or going back to Brooklyn to be with the one she loves.
I'd imagined a different life for myself.
I understand. But your life here could be just as good.
These are difficult decisions to make at her age, but in the end, she decides to follow her heart.
And then you'll catch yourself thinking about something or someone who has no connection with the past. Someone who's only yours. And you'll realize that this is where your life is.
Number 18, 5 Feet Apart. Fans of The Fault in Our Stars, more on that one later, will inevitably enjoy this 2019 film.
You're not wrong.
You think that's cute?
Do you think it's cute?
It's a tearjerker though, so get your tissues ready. 5 Feet Apart centers on Stella and Will, two young people who are both suffering from cystic fibrosis. Due to their disease, they're not allowed to go within 6 feet of one another because of the risk of cross-infection. The couple has to decide what risks are worth it and face big questions about what actually makes life worth living. Meanwhile, this movie feels all the more relevant now because of the global pandemic. Number 17, The Spectacular Now. For some reason, this 2013 movie flew under the radar, despite starring YA darling Shailene Woodley. It may be underrated, but you don't want to miss this quiet and tender romance flick.
So I think that we can help each other out. What do you say?
Focusing on a pair of high school seniors who initially seem supremely mismatched, it has a darker edge and addresses some serious issues that aren't your typical rom-com fodder.
Do you not see that I am bad for you? You need to get away from me!
Sutter is popular but faces struggles with alcoholism, while Amy is more of the typical girl next door. But both face issues that they realize they're better primed to deal with together than apart. Number 16, Blue is the Warmest Color. Blue is the Warmest Color tells the story of two young women, Emma and Adele, as they grow fond of each other, make lots of love, and begin a life together. However, outside factors and conflicting ambitions soon get in the way of their romance and domestic bliss. While stories like this have been told for centuries, this movie comes with a sprawling 3-hour runtime and attempts to immerse the viewer in long, complex scenes concerning various aspects of first relationships.
Je veux plus jamais te voir! Tu prends tes affaires et tu te casses!
It's a very relatable story of young love, growing up, and complacent domesticity that may or may not come between two passionate lovers. Number 15, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Stephen Chbosky's novel The Perks of Being a Wallflower created a legion of fans when it was released, and a whole new generation got to experience the story when he adapted it for the big screen. Perks deals with a lot of serious issues, including mental illness and sexual abuse, but it also portrays a young boy falling in love for the first time. In many ways, this isn't your typical romance, with many levels of complication coming between Charlie and Sam.
Sam, I really didn't mean anything by it, I'm sorry.
What the hell is wrong with you?
But it definitely does a good job of showing what happens when you love someone who doesn't seem to feel quite the same way about you. Although in this case, she comes around in the end.
And you're not small. You're beautiful.
Number 14, To All the Boys I've Loved Before.
But if this wasn't what he wanted, then why did he come to the field of desire? It was fated that we should meet like this.
Hey!
Lara Jean Covey mostly keeps to herself, penning love letters to the boys she has crushes on without ever intending on actually mailing them. When her box of letters mysteriously gets sent out, however, her life is turned upside down. She ends up getting into a mutually beneficial fake relationship with one of the recipients, but their charade gets very real very quickly. This is a high school romance that feels reminiscent of the John Hughes classics, with the brightly colored aesthetic to match. If you're looking for a lighthearted tale of young love, this one is just perfect.
You're coming in? It's your nightgown.
Number 13, The Princess Bride.
Go on, boy. Fill these with water. Please.
As you wish.
Hey, it doesn't all have to be cool indie flicks. We like corny, silly rom-com adventure fantasy movies too. The Princess Bride is a classic fairy tale-esque movie about a farmhand, Wesley, and his lover, the Princess Buttercup.
As you wish.
Oh, my sweet Wesley. What have I done?
However, as is often the case in fairy tales, things get in the way of a happily ever after, including Buttercup's betrothed, Prince Humperdinck, giant screaming eels, and a six-fingered man.
What is it? You have 6 fingers on your right hand.
You know, the usual stuff. The movie is a touching story about love in one's youth and the childish magic of fairy tales. It's a love story mixed with Rob Reiner's signature hilarious satire, and it's an undeniable classic.
5 kisses that were rated the most passionate, the most pure. This one left them all behind.
Number 12, Like Crazy. We all know long-distance relationships are awful, and that's perfectly exemplified in this film. Felicity Jones stars as Anna, a British exchange student who falls in love with Anton Yelchin's American Jacob. Like Crazy perfectly captures the electric first moments of a relationship, when consequences seemingly don't matter, like a student visa, because she's too caught up in their romance. Anna makes a misstep with her expired student visa and is subsequently deported, which understandably puts a strain on their relationship.
Whatever, what do you want to do?
I don't know, I'm really tired.
Yeah, so am I. So do you want to go or what?
Or do you want to get something to eat?
It's a relatable story about the sheer joy, desperation, and ultimate carelessness that comes with falling deeply in love as a young adult. Number 11, Moonrise Kingdom.
What kind of bird are you? I'm a raven.
Moonrise Kingdom is a very touching story about childhood love and innocence told through the lens of Wes Anderson's specific aesthetic. The movie tells the story of 2 introverted 12-year-olds, Sam and Susie, as they run away and explore the wilderness together. Woo! Woo! Hot on their trail are Sam's scoutmaster, Susie's parents, and the local police. Given that this is a Wes Anderson project, the story is wonderfully told through the escapist fantasies, and of course, gorgeous uses of color. It's a movie that nails the feelings of childhood summers and epic adventures, and allows it to recapture our more imaginative, stress-free, and innocent youths, if only for 90-something hopelessly nostalgic minutes. Number 10, Call Me By Your Name. This movie tells the story of the blossoming friendship and eventual relationship of the introverted Elio and the older, more confident Oliver. The story beautifully captures the hesitant initial steps of a relationship, including the painful "do they like me" period of questioning of each other's motives and feelings.
I would kiss you if I could.
When the two finally get together, they peel away each other's layers to discover a more intimate and personal connection. And yet, there's that persistent lingering feeling that this relationship probably will not last. It's a perfect cinematic example of the initial hesitations, sexual and emotional connections, and undercurrents of tragedy that litter everyone's early forays into love.
Is it a video? I have touched you for the last time.
Number 9, Love, Simon.
Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck on a Ferris wheel. One minute I'm on top of the world, and the next I'm at rock bottom. over and over all day long because a lot of my life is great, but nobody knows I'm gay. Blue.
While we've seen more and more diverse representation in film as the years have gone on, this movie, released in 2018, was actually the first film put out by a major studio that features a romance between gay teenagers. Love, Simon broke boundaries bringing this LGBTQ+ love story to the screen and showcased the experience of coming out for a modern adolescent. The relationship between Simon and Blue is one for the ages, bringing us a rom-com that feels at once fresh and modern and simultaneously like an inevitable classic.
It's kind of crazy, huh?
I didn't think you'd come.
Me neither.
Number 8, Titanic.
I'm flying!
Considering the harrowing journey they find themselves on, Jack and Rose are forced to act mature beyond their years, making us forget that Rose is just 17 years old when she boards the ship of dreams. Despite her young age, Rose knows exactly what she wants and doesn't want her life to look like. Her engagement to the wealthy but cruel Cal makes her feel trapped, so she strikes up a romance with the itinerant Jack Dawson, who makes her feel alive. Titanic is about many things, but it's Rose's willingness to pursue her dreams and do anything for the man she loves that makes it so powerful. If only it had a happier ending.
I'll never let go. I promise.
Number 7, Say Anything.
Hi.
This one is a classic for a reason. Say Anything is about Lloyd Dobler, an average high school student with little ambition, and Diane Court, the school's valedictorian whose father pressures her into continuing a prestigious academic career.
It doesn't feel right to me. I don't even have the right luggage yet.
However, these two seemingly incompatible individuals fall in love at high school graduation and commence a summer full of disapproving parents, good music, and stolen cash. It's a classic not only for its stellar performances and famous boombox scene, but also because it stunningly captures the idealism that often comes with first loves. Diane's father may be right when he tells her that Lloyd is unambitious, but we don't care. Young love conquers all.
Nobody thought we'd do this. Nobody really thinks it will work, do they?
No. You just described every great success story.
Number 6, A Walk to Remember. Released in 2002, this movie, based on the novel by Nicholas Sparks, struck a chord with a generation of teens. A Walk to Remember tells of a tragic and doomed romance between bad boy Landon and minister's daughter Jamie.
But in all fairness, you did warn me, right?
That's right.
While the two already have obstacles to overcome, none is bigger than the fact that Jamie is living with terminal cancer.
Now would be the time to say something.
I told you not to fall in love with me.
This tale is a devastating one as we watch Landon grasp onto the final months of Jamie's life before he has to spend the rest of his existence without her. Before she met him, Jamie had kept herself closed off to the world, but the love they share lets her truly live her life to the fullest while she can. Number 5, The Fault in Our Stars. The concept of The Fault in Our Stars may seem maudlin, but underneath the dreary premise is a beautiful love story.
Hi, Hazel Grace.
Hi.
How would you like to go on a picnic with me?
The movie tells the story of cancer-stricken teens Hazel and Augustus, as they fall in love, travel to Amsterdam, and find comfort in their situations through each other.
Think of all the beauty in everything around you.
While most of us hopefully can't relate to the cancer aspect, the movie nevertheless tells a deeply heartfelt and identifiable story about the powers of first love, and the feelings of safety we get from companionship. It's not only about young love, but friendship, hope, and the power of optimism.
You gave me a forever. Within the numbered days. And for that I am eternally grateful.
Number 4, My Girl. In this movie, Macaulay Culkin plays Thomas J. Sennett, an 11-year-old boy who suffers from severe allergies. He befriends and later grows an attachment to Veda Sultanfuss, a neglected hypochondriac. The two help with each other's troubles, and their relationship soon blossoms after a cute first kiss.
2.5, 3.
However, tragedy strikes, and the budding romance is cut short. My Girl is a great movie about childhood innocence and learning about some painful facts of life.
His face hurts. And where is his glasses? He can't see without his glasses.
We all had that one childhood friend who helped us grow into the people we are today, and My Girl is the perfect embodiment of those feelings and that particular time in our lives.
Thomas J. had this on him. I thought you might like to have it.
Number 3, The Notebook. You just can't go wrong with Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams. Talk about the most hashtag couple goals couple on the face of the earth.
If you're a bird, I'm a bird.
The Notebook, as we're sure you all know, tells the story of the poor Noah Calhoun falling in love with the rich Allie Hamilton.
But you're gonna have a million things to do. You got so much ahead of you.
Don't talk like that.
It's true. I'm not gonna have nice things, fancy things.
What follows is a great representation of the optimism of a new relationship, and the outer forces that can seemingly conspire against a happy young couple, like disapproving and invasive parents. And unlike most of the movies on this list, their romance succeeds and blossoms into maturity and old age, proving that sometimes young love can become our true love.
That's what brings you back to me each time.
Number 2, Flipped.
The first day I met Bryce Losky, I flipped. It was those eyes. Something in those dazzling eyes.
We don't know what went wrong with the marketing of this movie, but despite the fact that the book on which it was based had a serious fan base, Flipped only managed to bring in a little over $4 million at the box office. But despite its poor financial showing, Flipped is an extremely heartwarming and tender story of a couple consisting of Bryce and Julie, who meet as children and experience a roller coaster of feelings for one another.
Until recently, I would have said with absolute certainty that he was greater. Far greater than the sum of his parts. But now I wasn't so sure.
It seems as though their timing will never be right, with one of them being in love while the other seems indifferent. It's a relatable portrayal of a phenomenon that we've all experienced at one time or another. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Romeo and Juliet.
If my heart's dear love, I swear, oh, Juliet!
What better pick for number 1 than the most classic story ever told about young love? You've all read Shakespeare's play in school, so there's no need to go over the plot. Some of you may think the story old and stale, especially if you saw the 1968 classic. But give Baz Luhrmann's 1996 adaptation a try, and you'll see how Shakespeare can be brought into the modern world. It's funny, touching, and tragic, and it imbues Shakespeare's words with new life to make them work for a mainstream modern audience.
Romeo, doff thy name, and for thy name, which is no part of thee, take all myself.
I take thee at thy word.
Whether you watch an older version or a later one, there exists no better story about the electric, senseless emotions and fallibility of first or young love than Juliet and her Romeo.
Romeo.
Well, okay, West Side Story, which is also a riff on the Bard's play, was pretty cool too. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.